Hello guys, in this video we are going to be moving further with our design by introducing some other elements and other tricks that you can use for your designs. So for example, in this video you are going to learn how to insert pictures into shapes like the circle, and just how you can manipulate or add shapes to bring up your design together. So to start, I am actually going to go back to how we created the first background. So I'm just going to click on my adjustment layer, and then I'll press solid color, and I will then choose a color like this. So we are going to move to the greens. We are going to create something like, so you have to be very careful with the colors that you choose. So I'm going to choose a color like this, and then I opened up the previous design that we've done, and I'm just going to copy some elements on there. So to copy any element from your previous design, just open that design. So we have our design right here, and for example, I want to copy the circles that we use for the background here. So I'm just going to press Ctrl+C to copy it, and then move to my new document, and then I'll press Ctrl+Shift+V to paste it right here. So we have something like this. I'm actually just going to reduce the opacity a bit, just like so. We have something like this, and I'm also going to copy the text since we are going to be using the same text. So I'm just going to select my text in my layers panel like this, and then I'll press Ctrl+C and then Ctrl+V to paste it right here. So I'm just going to move it to the side, and now what we are going to introduce is images that we are going to insert into the circles. So to do that, I am going to create my circles first. So I'm going to come to the shapes tool, and then I'll select my ellipse tool to draw my circle. So I'm just going to press and hold shift on my keyboard, and then click and drag to create a circle just like this one. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the circle, and then press shift and then drag it. So if when you press shift, it is going to keep it straight with the other shape. So for example, if I'm not pressing shift and then I just click and drag, you can see it is not that aligned with this one, but then when you press shift, it is going to lock in the alignment for you. So you press shift and drag, and I'm going to duplicate this again, then I'll press shift and drag it out just like this. The space between so the space here and here, they are not the same. So what we are going to do to fix that is I'm just going to select those three layers right here, then I'll come up here and then click this, and you can see that everything is now in line. So I'm going to group them. So to group them, you select the three layers are already selected, so I'll just come and click on my folder right here. It's going to group them for me, and then I'll come to select and then all, and then I'll center them in the middle just like this. Then when I'm done centering them, I'll come and click on select and then deselect. So this is where we can now add or import our pictures in, and then fix them into these circles right here. So to do that, you open your group right here, and then choose the circle that you want to put the first picture in. So for example, I'm going to insert my picture into this first circle we have right here. So after selecting it, you come to file, place embedded. So let me go so let me do it again. We have file, place embedded, and then you locate where your pictures are. In this case, my pictures are on my downloads folder. So I'm just going to import this one here. So I'm just going to click on this one, and then I'll click on place. This will appear in Photoshop just like this, and then it is in transform mode automatically, so that way we can reduce the size of our picture. Or if you want, you can just press OK for it to import it into Photoshop. And then you can now press Ctrl+T on your keyboard to bring up the transform mode, and then you can bring your mouse pointer here and then reduce the size of the image just like this. When you are done with it, you press OK. you come back to your layers panel on the picture layer, just like this one. So we now have an additional layer, which is the picture layer that we just imported in. So I'm going to right click on the layer right here. So I'm going to right click on the picture right here, and then you see create clipping mask. So immediately you create a clipping mask, you are going to see that our picture has been inserted into our circle, just like this. So it's now in the circle. This is our circle, and this is our picture, and it's now in the circle, just like this one. So this is how you can fix a picture into a shape, any shape that you want. So we are going to move on to the next circle, like this one, and then we are going to fix our second picture. So I'm going to come to file and then place embedded, and then I'll choose my second picture, this one, and then okay, press Ctrl+T, and then I'm just going to reduce the size of that picture right here, just like this. When I'm done, I'll right click on the layer, and then I'll click on create clipping mask, and it's going to clip it. Then I'll move it to the right place, like this. I'll select my third layer like this. So you can see that there is an arrow right here. That means it is clipped to the circle. And when you want to unclip it, just right click, and then you release the clipping mask. It's going to come back to normal. So I'm just going to press Ctrl+Z to return it back to the clipping mask. Then I'll select my last circle, and then come to file, place embedded, and then click on this, and then place right here, and I'll click on OK. Then I'll press Ctrl+T, and then I'll try to reduce the size of our image right here, and then I'll right click and then click on create clipping mask, just like this. So this is how you can fix images into your shapes, just like this. I'm sure you guys have seen something like this, and now you've learned how you can also do that. So I'm just going to close this group up, and then I'm going to go back to my shapes tool. We are going to create a rectangle right here. So I'll select my rectangle tool, and then I'll click outside and drag, just like this. You are going to notice that it is going to cover our our images right here, but don't worry, we are going to fix that. So I'm going back to my move tool right here. I'm going to close this up. So you can see this is covering our images right here. So to fix that, you look at the layers panel. You can see that this rectangle is on top of our circles right here, or our images right here. So to fix that, you just click on this our rectangle, you select that, and then you drag it beneath the group like this. So that way it is going to be underneath the group. Let me do that again. So I'm going to click and drag beneath. If you put it on a group like this, that means you are putting it, or you are grouping it alongside the pictures, but we don't want that. We actually just need it under that layer. So you see like a blue two lines will appear, and that means it is now under the layer, and then you can now release it just like this, and it's now under our group, and our pictures are now appearing very clear. And by the way, you can right click on the empty space right here. It will bring up this, and then you can just choose maybe default to see everything very well. You can also choose light gray to see your design very well, or you can right click and then select any custom color that you want. Normally I just leave it on white, and then I'll press OK. That way you can see how your design will appear on a white background. So yeah, let's continue. So I'm actually just going to copy all the other things from my previous design to this design right here. So I'm just going to click on this, and then I'll select my name and then the creative designer. So I'll select my name here, and then press Ctrl, select the creative designer, just like this, and then click and drag just like this into our new document. So I'm going to place that right here, but I'm going to reduce the size, and to reduce the size we are going to use transform. To go into transform mode, you press Ctrl+T, and then you just transform your text just like what I've done right here. In this case, I'm just going to change the creative designer. I'm going to change the color of the creative designer. So I'm going to select the creative designer here, and then I'll go back to my text tool, to my character here. You can also access the character panel on here. So when you're not seeing the character panel, just look through your panels right here. You are going to see something like A, and then you click on it. It will bring up your character panel. I'm actually going to change the creative designer to our green background color, like this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the color, and then I'll bring my mouse pointer outside my color picker tool. It will turn to an eyedropper tool that I can use to sample the color, just like what I've done right here. And I'll click on OK. Let me do that again. So you come to your character panel, you click on the color, it will bring up your color picker tool. You bring your mouse pointer. If your mouse pointer is in your color picker tool, it's going to be a circle, but then immediately you bring it outside the color picker tool, it's going to turn to an eyedropper tool. That way you can just click once to sample any color that you want. And I'm going to click OK. And yeah, and that is done, just like that. You go back to your move tool, and then what we are going to also do is we are now going to create a rectangle over here. So I'm just going to select my rectangle right here, and I'm just going to click and drag just like this, and then I'm going to change the color. So I'm just going to change the color to green also. So I'm going to close this up, and then I'll come to my layers panel and double click on this thumbnail right here to bring up my color picker tool, and then I just apply the same color right here. So I'm actually going to open my properties panel again to add a rounded rectangle effect. So when you look down here, you see your rounded rectangle is 0, 0, which is why our rectangle, the corners of our rectangle are very straight and not rounded. Immediately you click and drag right here, you are going to see that our rectangle is now a rounded rectangle, which is what we want. And then I'll make sure it is placed very well, just like this. And then I'll go back to my text tool, and then I'll click and type join us now. I'll add an exclamation mark, and then I'll press A to select the text. I'll come back to my character, change the color to white like this, and then I'll press OK. I'll close this up too, go back to my move tool, and then I'll drag this join us now to the middle of our rectangle. I'm actually just going to reduce the size since it's already in a rectangle. It doesn't need to be very big as the rectangle. So I'm going to press Ctrl+T, and then just reduce the size a bit like this. And then I'm going to select the rectangle. So I'm going to select the two layers right here. So this is selected already. Then I'll press Ctrl and then click on my rectangle 2. It is going to be selected, and these will be activated. And then just click on this to make sure that everything is aligned very, very well. So yeah, I think we are done with this design right here, and I hope you guys have been able to learn something. So when you are done with a design like this, you normally save it, and to save it you come to File and then Save As. Then you actually choose the place that you want to save them. So I'm actually just going to save them in the folder Design Training, and I'm going to say Design 1. Then I'll press and make sure it's a PSD file, just like this. Then I'll press Save. So once it's saved, we can now export it and post it on our social media. So to do that, I'm going to come to File, Export, and then Export As. So this is going to appear, and then we are just going to change the good to great, Bicubic automatic to Bicubic sharper. This is what I actually just do when I'm exporting my designs for social media. Then I'll click on embedded color profile. Then I'll click on export, and then I'll export that to the same folder here, and then I'll click on save. And yeah, you can now access the file in your design training folder or any folder that you've saved it in. So for example, if I go back to my design training, you can see that I have my design right here, and then we can actually just view it and then share it on our social media. I hope you guys have learned something, and I hope you guys have created the same thing that I've created. And if you enjoy this, keep practicing, and then we are surely going to get there. We are going to dive deep into more design tricks and how you can create outstanding design and awesome designs for your social media. Thank you guys for coming.